Happy Saturday. Okay, perfect. We are actually live this time. Everything's working. So you guys get to see. Sorry about the screen faux pas here, but that's all right. How's it going? Good morning. Got my Java ready. What's going on, Vapor? Me too. I almost didn't, though. That was the one thing that I didn't prep for. This whole time, I didn't actually go get coffee. I didn't make coffee at all. So here we are. Bitcoin is currently at 41,362. A great Bitcoin price. Obviously, we are going on a bit of a like red kind of candle here. But a couple of things. One, we just went 10 days in a row, all green candles. Amazing streak for Bitcoin. Will it continue? We still have 8 days or 8 hours left until we get our market close. So, I mean, anything's possible. And a lot of people are changing their sentiment to be a little bit more bullish. How's it going, Natural Canadian? How's it going, man? I see you again. So, and I get that. I totally understand that. Right now, like, I mean, like, even I'm bullish. Like, look at this chart. This is amazing. I'm still, like, not sure that we're going to end this market cycle in September. But that being said, I can't deny that there's a good reality that something like that could happen, right? So it's not beyond the realm of possibility, which is crazy in terms of where Bitcoin was just a couple of weeks ago. We were sitting below the 50-week smooth moving average. So there's a lot that Bitcoin has done in the last couple of days that's really kind of brought that bullish sentiment back into the space, and I can feel it. I feel a lot more excitement among everyone else. Everyone's a little bit more excited about crypto. But I get it. I get it. It's hard to get excited when everything's down in the dumps, when the prices are low. But it's important to remember, and I'll turn on some lights here. There we go. It's important to remember that when everything is low, that's when you buy. But however, if you did accumulate throughout this whole period, you're going to look back at all of this as a very good time for you, something that you really went through and made a good bet for your future. So obviously, I'm extremely happy. I've been DCAing the entire time. You guys remember back when we were basically dropping from here, I was making tweets about it and everything else. We get through down into this zone, and I was just saying dollar cost average through all of this. Dollar cost average through. Couple of things. So we'll go through first. I wanted to pull up my Polkadot to show which liquidity pools I am providing currently, and then we'll talk about some news. We'll answer some questions. Discord is always open as well, so if you want, you can go to Discord. In the description down below in here, you can go to Discord and you can jump into the waiting room. If you jump into the waiting room, I will pull you into the Birch room and I'm going to ask you questions. So be ready to unmute your mic. If you have speakers, make sure to mute your speakers or mute the stream. That way you're just talking through Discord. But absolutely come on in, join the Discord link, join the waiting room, and head on, and I'll move you into the Birch room. I'll move that over there so I can see. But how's everyone's morning going so far? Is everyone doing okay? Okay, so in terms of the pool, right now we currently have a couple of liquidity pairs. We have the Zoran Val, the Zoran P swap, and the Zoran Dai. So we just recently entered we just recently moved all of our DeFi into P swap. So I've completely exited Pancake. I've completely exited DFIN. I've moved everything into PSwap, and there's a lot of reasons for that. One, I believe in the regulatory framework, the monetary framework that Sora is doing. They just released the Ministry Finance Parliament. So I got to read into that, and I'm going to do a whole update video about all of that when that comes through. But they are doing big things, and I truly believe that this is going to be one of the dexes of the future. It's a cross-chain dex, which is exactly like what a DFIN is. But in my opinion, this is the real cross-chain because Polkadot substrate, it's all interoperability between blockchains, right? So I have a number of different liquidity pairs, Zor and PSwap. Of course, I entered Zor at $600, and now I think I was able to enter at a much more stomachable price at roughly around 160. But I am down quite a bit on my Zor investment, but I'm not worried at all in any way, shape, or form. In the rewards, they have updated a few things, so you're going to notice that over time, PSwap is going to go through some updates. So one big thing, we do have the rewards broken out. So we see that the fees gained from the liquidity, making it very clear that this is not the fees from the liquidity pools, the vested amount of PSwap from the liquidity pools. So this is just the fees. Right now, the vested amounts aren't shown. I don't know when that's going to be shown, but we do have one vested amount though, which is from the TBC. So anytime that you bought from the token bonding curve, you got extra PSwap, and at the time it was viable for me to buy from the TBC. So I have that vested in some rewards as well. So that is a Polkaswap. We'll go back to the chart for a minute, and then we'll switch into some of the news. Again, we're pushing up. Last night, actually, we basically hit that 42,000 for Bitcoin, or close to it. And it looks like even slightly, and yeah, so last night. So we did hit that 42,000 mark that I've been talking about. Will we continue up? As much as 42,000 is a barrier, the 20-week SMA is actually a bigger barrier. So if you look at the 20-week, we do have a little bit to go for the 20-week, but the 20-week is roughly around 44,700, give or take, somewhere around there. So we do have to pass that before we're going to be incredibly bullish in any way, shape, or form. But I do think that there's a lot of power behind this pump. And the big thing is we can't underestimate it. It could go further. But we should also expect a pullback. That being said, having plans for both scenarios, right? Having a cash out plan is good. Having a plan to be ready for a dip is also good. So asset management firm Golden Tree is buying Bitcoin, and this is obvious. More and more asset firms, and especially the ones that are tied to the banks, are going to enter Bitcoin more and more throughout the next little while. We saw the trickle with MicroStrategies and Tesla and everything else, and now you kind of see that going through. So banks are joining the fray. And you can see that. We have JP Morgan that made an announcement that they're trying to get into cryptocurrency for exposure. There's crypto funds and ETFs that are similar to what people have traditionally invested in before, right? So if somebody's investing specifically in stocks and bonds, they know that market very well. So when they want to buy Bitcoin, they want to buy it in that form. So it's easier for them to buy maybe a fund through like Grayscale or something like that. So. And then obviously you see like the big ones, Goldman Sachs, BMA, right? They're all wanting to get into this whole cryptocurrency frenzy. And I think truly some of them actually recognize that this is the future. One being MasterCard, actually. So MasterCard, the CEO says MasterCard has to be in the space. This is from the CEO directly, Michael Maybach. So he's directly saying that they need to be in crypto. And I think a lot of this is probably because of the push from Visa, BMA, and everything else. They're seeing their competitors move into the space, so they kind of want to get in as well. I mean, it makes sense. It makes complete sense that we're going to see this shift from these big companies moving into Bitcoin, moving into cryptocurrency. Now, I can't see Bitcoin itself being the payment, right? The thing that's running everything. It's obviously too slow. The fees are too high. But, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be cryptocurrency in some form. They do mention that MasterCard announced their partnership with the USDC stablecoin. 1 second. Ooh, sorry about that. They did mention that they partnered with USDC, which if you know anything between USDC and USDT, I trust USDC a lot more. If anything, they've at least had a lot less criminal probes put down into USDC than USDT. I mean, who knows if like they're fully backed by United States dollars. I'm talking about Tether, by the way, not USDC, not to be confused with USDC. So I personally, all my stablecoin is either in DAI or USDC. So I'm not going to be someone that's in Tether in any way, shape, or form. Bitcoin rises as the reverse repos hit $1 trillion. So this is the reverse on the shorting markets and everything else. You also see the stock plunge in China that has been huge, actually, because we talked about that on a video for a couple of minutes. But the Chinese stock essentially dropped 10% in a day, which, I mean, like, 10% in a day, that's cute, right? Compared to some of our drops that we've had recently. But 25% over the month, it's clearly been on a downtrend. We clearly see equities hurting in China, which is weird because they seem to have the COVID situation that kind of got locked down early on. Of course, we don't have official numbers for them, but they could be going through some sort of turmoil with their equities market. But is this a sign of the Chinese economy dying, or is this a greater sign of something else, which I'm not quite sure of? I'm making 14 on my USDC. See, it's fine. It's absolutely fine to make some money on USDT. The only reason I'm sketched out about it is just because of the Tether FUD that's come through. But I have nothing to substantiate that other than things that I've heard, and the criminal probes. So there's that. But there's nothing wrong with you making an interest on your Tether. Actually, 14 cents a day is pretty sweet, to be honest. And on this note, China. So we're shifting. We're telling a little bit of a story here from bull to bear, right? Because China is actually looking at increasing the regulatory pressure. Now, the reason why I wanted to bring this up specifically is because who cares? Who actually cares at this point? How many times has China banned crypto? How many times has China done anything to crypto? It's maybe sunk for a little bit. Like you see the Chinese miner situation. All these miners got basically booted out of China for regulations, got moved over to other countries, and now they're just getting back up into operation because, hey, they can't mine in China anymore. Obviously, China wants to leverage their digital yuan. They obviously want to push this, have their people use this, and it's the same thing with like Google, right? They banned Google because it's a good technology. At the end of the day, I think I can't remember which investor I heard say this, but if China's banning it, you should buy it. That's the general rule. So I'm not concerned. I mean, it is what it is. But on that note, and I feel like this is just a FUD article. I really do. Now, I haven't read the infrastructure bill. I have no idea. I'm Canadian. I mean, our laws already suck. I'm a little busy with what the OSC is doing, the Ontario Securities Commission. But not a drill. The infrastructure bill could sink American crypto industry. And again, I think this is just FUD. I don't think, unless it was a completely adopted among every state, I don't think that there's anything that really can sink the crypto market. If anything, it would only hurt American people because they wouldn't be able to access crypto. At the end of the day, crypto is worldwide. It's not just isolated to the United States, which often I think people that write these articles kind of think that. But I mean, like, hey, like I don't know exactly what the bill is bringing to the table in terms of the crypto regulations. I know they haven't been doing very well. You see what's happening in New York and everything else, but you do have good crypto regulations happening, like what's happening in Wyoming. But who knows what side Congress is on? For me, I wouldn't trust a new technology with a bunch of old guys that have no idea what the hell they're talking about. And they've done such a great job at our financial economy right now, right? It's such a bang up job, man. Absolutely. I think it's anyway, it is what it is. But President Biden is aiming to make landmark accomplishments for this year, so obviously they're pushing through this bill. I do know at least about the bill, not what's in the bill, but I know that they've been pushing this through, and there's not, it's been a contentious bill. There hasn't been agreement on either side for the bill. There's been fights about it. It's been everywhere. So we'll see where this lands. I don't know. I'm not hopeful for a lot of American regulations because we see that in New York, how bad the regulations were early on in Bitcoin. But really, I truly believe that if countries like the United States or like Canada or other countries like China even, well, China's adopting crypto, but countries like that don't adopt crypto, that really shun away to it and put legislation around it to keep money in fiat, I think that's a losing battle. I don't think that that's going to end very well for the country or the people in it. It's not serving at all any one part of that. So I definitely don't believe that the government should have any I don't know. I'm a free market guy. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit more on the we should have equality and everyone should be able to prosper. But at the end of the day, you can do things that doesn't put you in a deficit, right? You can have these social programs. You can build new roads that doesn't put you in a massive deficit. So to see the government, just try to flail and try to maintain control over the money supply, it's obvious, and I guess it is what it is. Even Jerome Powell, he's been a big push for all of that, hiding the inflation from the people, hiding how much money is being printed. We see that with the M2 money supply. We can actually take a look at M2 because, we can't because, they stopped showing us M2, you know what I mean? It's because that's not important. That's not important at all. This is where M2 stopped, right? Around June, right? This is when the reports stopped. We don't get the reports anymore. Now, I did this video to show you guys, or I did this in a live stream to show you guys the rate, the difference of increase. Because just looking at M2, right, we see the COVID spike here, and you think, okay, well, pandemic, that's why we printed so much money here. And then you see this incline. So I put this incline next to that one. It's a clear increase in how fast we're printing money. We are printing money at an absurd rate compared to what we were before. And even what we were before was bad. Look at 2008 compared to now. 2008, just to give you guys a little history recap, this is when Hank Paulson bent the knee to Nancy Pelosi for a goddamn money bazooka. That if you have the bazooka, you don't have to fire the bazooka. And of course, he fired the bazooka and printed a shit ton of money to bail out the banks. But here we are, we're printing an absurd amount. But nobody's afraid? Everyone's cool? This is good? Everything. I honestly, sometimes I feel I'm living in that meme, everything's on fire, right? And there's the dog sitting in the middle. This is fine. That's how I feel. I actually feel like that's what is happening right now. Everything's fine. Everyone's like, shying away. Whatever. It's no big deal. Don't worry. It's only the universal currency of the world. Don't worry. It's only the United States dollar. Jesus. But hey, how's it going, Giovanni? How's it going, buddy? Go ahead and drop a like too. We got 10 people in the stream. Only 5 likes. Help a brother out. So back to Bitcoin here. So Bitcoin, obviously, we're pushing up, and now we've discussed where Bitcoin can go, and I want to bring up something. I want to pull out the fractal here for Bitcoin, and I always seem to get the wrong one here. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna pull up this fractal. Okay, I just want to show you guys what this looks like from bottom to bottom. So what I'm doing here is I'm pulling the bottom of the 2017 market. So the bottom here, I'm pulling the exact bottom and I'm lining that up with our bottom that we had for this market cycle. Because I do want to talk to you guys about something, and I want a visual up here while I talk about it. That way you guys know where I'm coming from, and you don't think that I'm just being bearish for the sake of being bearish. So this is the 2017 cycle put in tandem of our cycle. And a lot of people say with stock to flow, we're just going to have 4-year cycles, which I mean is always possible. And it does mean that we could see a market peak somewhere around September, which a lot of people are saying September, October, November, somewhere in that range. I personally don't I'm not in that camp. I personally think that we're going to take a little bit longer. But I mean, anything's always possible because we have a lot of momentum, but I guess we'll see. But if you look at how the 2017, and let me just shut off the 20 week. If you look at how 2017 moved compared to what we did this year, we were out of pace 2 times with this market cycle in terms of we were increasing at a much higher rate than we did before. And maybe that's due to more hype. I mean, the asset class is still very small. But what can we expect? Can we still expect that? Right now, I'm not saying that we're going to hit 300K Bitcoin by October, but I am saying that most likely what we'll do is it kind of trade in a different kind of zone. We'll maybe fight for this level for a little bit and then make a market peak somewhere around 130K. But there are a lot of people that say, hey, we're just going up. So they're the 2 camps. At this point, I'm in the 1 camp. I'm in the long camp. I think it's going to be a little bit of a longer wait, but I mean, I can't deny that everything's looking really bullish right now, and I mean, we could go up. So, how's it going, Hyde? How's things? I think I actually just updated my PSwap, what I was talking, but actually let me pull up some PSwap charts here. We can talk more about PSwap. So I recently have been using a lot of the PSwap tools. They also have the chart that's fairly new, which is nice because I haven't had a reliable PSwap chart. The only PSwap chart I had was for Uniswap with wrapped ETH and PSwap. But this is PSwap and DAI, the PSwap and DAI price. So currently the PSwap price is sitting at 6 cents, 0.25. Obviously I entered roughly around here before the initial drop. So I moved all of my DeFi into PokeSwap, moved in during that, and then we went on to a nice little launch. So looking pretty good on our DeFi, doing pretty well with PokeSwap. I'm really happy with that move. And I'm happy long term with PokeSwap because for every Zor that I have in the system, I'm making 20 PSwap a day. And I'm expecting PSwap to go higher in value later on in life. I'm a long-term holder. And also there's the deflationary aspect where all the burnt PSwap is just gone, right? So there's a lot of incentives to get into PSwap right now opposed to later because these incentives aren't going to be there for long. Again, you get your fees right now with your providing liquidity that's shown on your PokeSwap DEX. On top of that, you will have your vested rewards, which you can't see right now, but soon they'll have a tracker for your vested rewards, and then you'll eventually have access to that. But they're vested mainly to maintain so people don't just dump. Same thing with the TBC. So you can see that I made a small purchase on the TBC, got 1900 PSwap at that time. That was a while ago. I want to say a couple months ago. And I'm providing currently a Zor and Val, Zor and PSwap, and Zor and DAI. So, good morning. How's it going, dude? Quick question. So I don't know. Okay, so how is my experience with Binance withdrawal? So generally my experience is fine. I deposited but does not accept Matic. So the best thing that you could do in your case is most likely finding a bridge from Matic to ERC20 and then transferring it over to Binance if you're trying to get onto the exchange. If you're trying to get off the exchange, you'll have to take the Matic or whatever you want over into ERC20, so like on a MetaMask wallet, and then bridge that onto the Matic system. So I don't think you can do it directly from the exchange, and I think that's probably just because they want you to use the BSC for PancakeSwap. That would make the most sense. But it is kind of surprising that they don't have the Matic system integrated. So I'd check into that and make sure. But I do know for good old Ontario here, we're actually being kicked off of Binance. So actively right now, all of my money on Binance is gone. I've moved it over to Kraken and other services. So I'm not using Binance anymore. But I do remember that it was pretty good. I will miss it though. I'm not gonna lie, but I think they got themselves into some hot water with regulations. It's just been kind of an issue. So I don't know what's happening there. I don't know, but I don't think that I'll be specifically in Ontario for like too terribly long. But you know. Yeah, so like it depends, Geo. It really depends on the network, right? Because so Binance can like transfer on either the Binance system, which is the internal system. It's not to be confused with the BSC. So they can transfer Bitcoin no fees. Then they have the BSC, which is the Binance Smart Chain, obviously. ERC20, you know, and everything else. I'm sure they have XRP and everything. So they have access to all these different platforms. I'd be surprised if they don't have Matic, but I mean, maybe they just haven't caught up, because Matic's actually a pretty popular cryptocurrency at this point. If you look at what Layer 2 is doing for cryptocurrency, we'll bring up Matic actually right now. We can talk about it because I know a lot of people are excited about it. I'm pretty excited as well. Of course, I'm not holding a lot of Matic anymore because I moved a lot of my DeFi over to to Polkaswap. I have a little bit in a wallet, and it's not really doing anything. And then I have a little bit of DeFi that I'm probably just gonna throw on DeFi. But in general, like where could Matic go? Because it's a layer 2, it's a pretty successful layer 2. There's a lot of liquidity on these systems for DeFi, QuickSwap, Aave, the Polygon Aave portion. There's a lot of money there, and there's a lot of use there. I do believe that we could probably see a $5 Polygon. I don't think that something like that's out of the question, so a $5 Matic. But for any sort of transfers right now, I believe that you need a bridge from ERC to the Matic system. But yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what the process is fully. Yeah, you should be. If you can withdraw on that network, you can probably deposit. Typically. But who knows what's going on with Binance? Because there's a lot of weird stuff happening there. One other piece of news that we've talked about Cardano a lot, but we've been talking about Alonzo coming out and how we moved over to Alonzo White. Now Charles Hoskinson actually came out. I watched the live stream before here, or I watched the video. He came out and just mentioned that we'll see a lot of these dApps launch as soon as the hard fork is fully complete. I think that I remember him hearing him say dates of sometime in September. So we could see August, September, sometime there. But he did say that this is an ecosystem. People need to make these dApps, but as soon as everything's live, the code will be running. So essentially, as soon as they're live, then they can start building, and we know that there are going to be dApps immediately being built on Cardano. There's a lot of hype around it. Cardano has a huge Twitter following. I'm still holding my Cardano. I haven't touched my Cardano at all. I bought a little bit during some of the dips when Cardano got down to roughly $1. But I'm holding for the long-term future of where Cardano is going to go. I'm excited to see what dApps come out. One big thing that we've discussed about Cardano is something called Sunday Swap. So you hear me talk about Polkaswap and everything else. Now, I'm not going to sell my Cardano in any way. And just because I've moved into DeFi on Polkaswap doesn't mean I'm not going to do DeFi here. So I'm obviously going to provide some of my Cardano as liquidity on a Sunday Swap. I'll most likely be staking it for Sunday Token when that comes out. Same thing goes with XRP and the Flare Dex. When the Flare Dex comes out, I'll absolutely be using that and staking that as well. Yeah, I think actually, so I like that you brought that up. But I think so the one way that I use Newton actually is I will buy all my Ethereum on Newton right now. So if I need Ethereum on my MetaMask, okay, this is how I typically arbitrage cryptos. Okay, you guys ready for this? So this is how I literally buy crypto, bare bones, like the cheapest that I can buy crypto. What I do is I get onto Newton, or I get onto my onboarding platform. For me, that's Newton. If you want to use Newton, there's a promo code down below, $25 when you deposit and trade. I think $100. Go ahead and sign up. It has a great token supply right now. They just added Cardano and a bunch of others. They have Matic, Polygon. You can buy basically anything. Well, anything that you really want. I mean, you can't buy like shit coins, but hey, it is what it is. But if you buy XRP or Stellar from Newton, transfer that to the exchange that you want to buy whatever you want to buy. So if your token is on, say, KuCoin, or your token is on BitTrue that you want to buy, or Binance, send the XRP over. You're going to pay a fraction of a cent for that transfer. Change that XRP into USDT or USDC, then buy your cryptocurrency. What I've done now, because I can't do that with MetaMask, I can't move XRP to my MetaMask. So what I do now, because Newton is covering network transfer fees currently, I'll buy my Ethereum on Newton and I'll transfer that directly to my MetaMask without a fee, goes right into my MetaMask, and then there I bridge it over to Polkaswap. That's how I've been entering Polkaswap at a bare bones price with Ethereum. But the same idea can be taken for basically anything that you do. So just keep in mind that there are always ways to save money on the arbitrage. If you're spending like $1.50 or $3 on transaction fees, you can be saving all of that, and that can be going into crypto. Of course, I mean, $3 doesn't sound like a lot right now, but you think about what was it? For every dollar in 10 years ago, for every dollar, that's $88. I don't know the exact number. You get the gist. Well, like I bought Bitcoin back when it was at 4K, back with the March capitulation down in. Basically here, right? When this happened, this whole COVID-19 sell-off happened and everything, I bought Bitcoin down at like the depths, right down here. This is more than a 10x on my money. So that's 100 or 10, yeah, whatever. This is a year, right? This is just a little over a year of movement that we've 10x'd that investment from down here all the way up to here. So have that in perspective that, $3 doesn't seem like a lot, but neither did the little bit of money that I put in down here. And arguably it's not a little bit of money now. So there's a lot, to add on to that. So when you are paying those fees, you're just kind of getting shafted. ShakePay covers fees, maybe. The only thing that I have with ShakePay, and there's nothing wrong with ShakePay. I love ShakePay. ShakePay is amazing. Thank you for reminding me, because I'm actually going into ShakePay right now to shake my app. There we go. We got our Satoshis. So if you shake your ShakePay app, I think you have to refer somebody, but if you shake your ShakePay app, you get free sats every day. So they do cover fees, but they have a minimum of how much ETH to send. That being said, they're the quickest, hands down, to load money into. They're absolutely, like, if I can't get into Newton, ShakePay is my number one. The reason why ShakePay isn't my number one, and this is a very, very, very small reason, but their spread is just a little bit more. So I might pay like 50 to 60 cents to buy a crypto, where Newton doesn't charge me that. You don't see the charge, right? It's on a spread. So if you don't know how a spread works, you're maybe buying at a certain price higher than the actual market price of Bitcoin. So you're getting less bang for your buck. That's how like Binance makes money. This is also how like other stock brokers make money too. This is not isolated to just crypto. That's Robinhood, Wealthsimple, all of that. Go ahead and drop a like, by the way. 18 viewers currently in the stream, and there is only 10 likes, so help a brother out for sure. I just want to remind everyone that you can absolutely join Discord if you go down to the description down below, hit the invite link for Discord, jump into the waiting room, and then I will pull you into this room here, and you can ask a question. We can have a little conversation, whatever you want, as long as you're not just here to meme. As long as you're bringing something constructive, I'm a-okay with it. Yeah, so like you're paying $40 for for $1,000 buy, and that adds up, right? Those $40 add up over time, right? If you're buying small amounts, like if you're buying hundreds, right? So every $100 you're maybe getting a $4 spread, right? So like that little amount does add up. So that's why I use things like ShakePay, like Newton, because there is no spread. Now how Newton makes their money is they charge on the withdrawals. So anytime that you withdraw crypto, and then they also just buy low and hold to sell you at a higher price. So that's the business model between Newton and ShakePay. That being said, they're both amazing companies, and I'm not endorsing one or the other. I use both of them, so I have no problem with either of them. When Newton's down, I go to ShakePay. When ShakePay is not working, I go to Newton. That's how it works. It's good to have some backups too. So those are both of my on-ramps into cryptocurrency. And for a while, the stuff that I was generating from DeFi was just moving through other channels to kind of get through certain areas. Like I'd move it back to Binance, switch it over, and move it to another DEX or into HODL bag somewhere, or onto Celsius as another token, right? There's always things that you can do to either make an interest, earn a yield, or reduce your fees. That's like when I first started with cryptocurrency. I got into Coinbase, and then I realized how big of a scam Coinbase is. Paying $14 every time you make a transaction over, a couple $100. Yeah, it definitely adds up, especially if you're putting a lot of money in. like often, I mean, right? If you're putting like deposits in like fairly regularly, yeah, those little amounts, even if it is like $2, $3, $4, right? But if it is 40 or higher, those little amounts really add up. So, and that's money that you could be investing right now in cryptocurrency, and that could turn into some real money later on down the road. That's why things like stacking sats is so good. Yeah, so, well, I don't know exactly much about Atomic. I mean, I have Atomic Wallet, so I can't really say that. Oh, the fees. Yeah, see, I don't know. That's interesting. I think the only reason I have Atomic Wallet, and I can't even remember my password here. If you guys know the, what is it? Unstoppable Domains, I think they use Atomic Wallet, and a few others. So I think that just means, okay, maybe I just, move to another exchange, but you know. But currently we are at 41,000, almost 500, 41,500 Bitcoin, which is a pretty good price, but everything's kind of dipped a little bit. If we look down at the daily, we'll kind of, or the, yeah, the daily, because the daily we're on a green candle, but we still have 8 hours left on the day. So we don't know if we're going to close this at the 11th day, green. I have ZIL staked. Oh, to pull it out costs money. Yeah, that probably sucks. I think that's like the best place for ZIL too, which is unfortunate, right? Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that might be the best place for ZIL in terms of, well, I guess you can stake ZIL normally, right? But I think the problem with Zilliqa that I found, especially with Zilliqa, is everywhere it is, it's having issues with withdrawals, because I think it's like the network. I think that a lot of exchanges aren't really like used to how Zilliqa works specifically. So I think that's kind of what's happening there. Why Zilliqa is not being offered on multiple different platforms, but. It was an incredible recovery. So we like, because we've talked about this whole like area between 32,000 to 42,000 this entire time. Here we are. We closed the gap in 10 days. That's incredible. We closed it not even from like my area 32,000. We closed it from like low 29,000s, right? Like mid 29,000. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's the best APY. Yeah, so that's the thing, right? Because if you have like a good APY, right? So if you think about it, and you have a good APY for it, and you have to keep it in there for a little bit. So say you keep it in there, you're getting an APY, and then you withdraw, and it maybe takes like months and months worth of that that APR or APY, whatever it is. It just takes all that you earned. So there's no point in withdrawing. That's the trap that they get you in. So. Yeah. Oh yeah. So the thing about and like I don't think see, here's the thing. We had that Amazon story that everyone reported on me, and thought was real. Again, me. And we learned that it wasn't real. But what happened? We closed green yet again. We closed another green candle. We have not stopped for Bitcoin. We have not. It's all gas, no brakes. I even now this red thing that we're looking at right now, I'm still pretty bullish. I think we're gonna go higher. I think we are going to somewhat test our 20 week. And until we do, I don't think we're gonna make a decision to the downside. I think possibly at the 20 week we could see a fall. We could see a rejection, but. So right now, I keep everything with Celsius. I mean, I shouldn't say that. I have a little bit with BlockFi, but Celsius is like my main go-to. I'm a huge proponent in Celsius. I really love the company. I love what they're doing. They just put in a bunch of new terms of service, though, that it got people shaken up a little bit. And the thing about the terms of service is they're more looking to direct the regulations within New York. which is important because the New York regulations are a little bit hard to manage. They go all over the place. There's a couple of other like clarity things that they discuss. Of course, Celsius is a wallet. It's not an exchange of any kind. So they're basically saying that we don't hold your cryptocurrency on your behalf. It's all within your wallet. If you get your account hacked for whatever reason, it's your responsibility, which are common things, right? Like there's no reason that, like, I'm sure if it was a security breach on their end, they'd be able to provide it. But with two-factor authentication, biometric, generally you should be fairly safe, as long as you keep your information kind of buttoned up a little tight. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. Now that being said, it's good to be cautious. I still use BlockFi. I haven't stopped using them, but if there's someone that you can't hand over in your area because of regulations, I'd probably move to Celsius, because Celsius is working on those regulations, working to be compliant. They're working to be a big player in the space. And right now I think they service like 14 billion worth of assets. I'll bring that up to know exactly. I'm ballparking because last time I checked, it was like huge. It was like 7 billion. We're looking at 15 billion in assets that they're currently managing. So huge amount. And this 15 billion, you might think, okay, like you got to be careful. Like look at the 17% APY. How is this possible? Well, everything's audited by the community under, I think, Celsians.com. I believe I'm gonna find this, but essentially what they do is they mine the data for all of the blockchain wallets, all the wallets for Celsius, and they make sure that the money isn't like a Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, that the money isn't just being paid by deposits, that the money is actually paid out in crypto. So what they do is that they have the earnings from the deposits. They take that money, they go buy crypto off the open market, and then send it to the hodlers, which is exactly what they do to the Cell token, right? And this is why I brought up this chart. So Cell token is the native token for the Celsius platform. It's an ERC20 token. I don't know if they have any plans to move off of ERC20 at all, but it's basically, in my opinion, a loyalty /store value token. And I view it in a lot of ways to be a very safe investment, because it's just going to continue in the holding pressure and the scarcity. The reason why I say that is because of how the token works. So you can earn a base APY. You can earn like 4%, right? Say on your Bitcoin. You could earn 6% if you earn it in Cell token rather than in kind. So it's a little bit different. So what happens when you earn in Cell token is the Cell token is bought from the open market. So let me just move this down a little bit. The Cell token is bought from the open market. So Celsius goes out, buys that Cell token from the open market. So they're not giving it to you from their treasury or anything. They send it to the members that have earned an interest in Cell token. And then what's that do? So what's happening to my cryptocurrency in Celsius? Absolutely nothing. I don't sell. I just hold. Everyone in Celsius basically just holds. It's the whole point of the app. So when you're getting these tokens, they're sending them to holders. They hold the tokens, earn an interest more on those tokens. More Cell token is bought off exchanges to pay these holders, and on this cycle continues. So Cell token is going to for sure be a good investment in the long term, as long as you're bullish on where the Celsius platform is going to go. And arguably, I think it's one of the best platforms in the space. So institutions can buy a Bitcoin OTC, sort of like how they would broker stocks OTC. So over the counter trades. Typically these are trades that are happening in the stock world. They happen outside of like market open, market close, maybe at a different rate, maybe there's a different commission size, whatever. So a similar thing happens here. So things like companies like Coinbase, for example, have an OTC desk. So you can specifically go to Coinbase and say, hey, I have like $30 million I need to drop this on crypto. Now, the reason why you go to an OTC desk is because you can't just drop a huge amount of money in the open market and expect that there's going to be liquidity there, especially if the exchange just doesn't have that amount of Bitcoin. Usually with the exchanges, sure, they have some Bitcoin and they have some crypto, but when they need to make a large trade, they usually borrow that crypto from another provider, like Celsius, for example. So with OTC, an entity like MicroStrategies, for example, went to Coinbase and said, hey, Coinbase, I need to get in touch with your OTC desk. They transfer them over. They broker this multi-million-dollar deal and make this series of transfers of money and Bitcoin, basically the old school way. So it's not, it's not like represented on like a website or anything. They're literally getting on the phone, talking to somebody, just like before. So usually it is outside of the actual like market, so it's not within the market play. So you'll hear OTC a lot to not impact prices and everything else. But yeah, what Giovanni's saying is exactly correct. OTC it doesn't affect the price, but it still affects the supply of the token. So you're still buying the token, but because you're not buying it on the open market, it's not dramatically affecting the price. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't affect the price eventually. Usually things like that, especially if it's a big news buy, that will impact the price just because of the nature of the buy. But it's just a much easier way for more industries with more money to enter the market without having to go through the open market. So. But in terms of the cell token, like what I was mentioning with the flywheel, so the more cell token that's paid, the more that goes back to the hodlers, the higher the price goes. I got really lucky with cell token. I got into cell token as soon as I got into Celsius, so back in 2020. And I got into cell token. I think my first buy was roughly at 64 cents. And then I think my second buy was around 80 cents and then $1. I've continued. Well, I haven't since then. I haven't continued since I think my last buy was $4. But I held on to all my cell token, and I currently use it as collateral to redeploy money. So. Yeah, or Vapor's right, kind of selling out of a cold wallet. Usually it's a cold wallet by some major exchange, right? So it's not like through the open market. Currently, though, the crypto market cap is sitting at $1.6 trillion. So we discussed this before. Now, this just kind of goes into perspective how much we still need to make up, because we're still not really out of the woods. I know everyone's getting excited and saying, hey, we're going to, a huge Bitcoin. I still believe in a $10 trillion crypto market cap, but I don't know if I believe in that by September. Because that's a lot of money. Now, I mean, I could always be wrong, and we could say like a $4 trillion market cap or something more in line with that. I guess that's always possible. But a lot of people are calling for that 100K Bitcoin. And I think for that 100K Bitcoin, we're going to have to see a huge amount of liquidity within the crypto market space. But yeah. Awesome, Jared. I hope. Hey, man, listen. Okay, if you got a smooth line for that mother of yours, okay, maybe drop a picture on the email. HaasHodlsInquiries@protonmail.com. You can always just send a little picture of your mama there. I could be your new dad. Who knows, man? Thanks, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Really appreciate it, man. I love when regulars are coming around. Yeah. I have some of the best viewers on YouTube, so it's great. I know everyone says that, but screw it. I have the best, okay? But I am open to questions as well. Again, if anyone wants to, I have Discord open. So we'll be doing this every live stream, so don't feel pressured to do this time or whatever, but think about it. And if you do have a idea or a question that comes to mind, either in this live stream or in future live streams, I'll continue doing this where you jump in the waiting room, I'll pull you in, and then we have a little discussion. So just keep that in mind for the future. Let's talk about Cardano. because I think that's always fun. Cardano is always amazing. In terms of Cardano, we're sitting at 130. Cardano's held strong. It's basically been a stable coin through it all. I would argue that a lot of Cardano boys that were basically sitting here that are Cardano maxis, and I know there are a couple, that these Cardano maxis are probably pretty happy with this dip because, you know, they got up to like what, April lows, and then dropped down to April lows. Like they basically lost nothing. They lost this like $2.50 ADA, but you know, I mean, that's not going to hold that long. I'll be anything. I'll be Tony to your nice. Wait, does that mean that I'm gonna like blame you for like having my girlfriend go down on you in a car, and then you're eventually... I'm not gonna end that. I'm not gonna spoil it for anyone that hasn't watched Sopranos. You guys go watch Sopranos. But Cardano is held very nice. It's been a very nice stablecoin. So any Cardano maxis are probably happy. It's funny because I checked my Daedalus wallet and I'm like, oh, how much money is in my Daedalus wallet today? I'm like, oh, nothing's changed because Cardano doesn't change. It's actively $1.30, and it's been around that $1.30 for quite a while. Other than the dips, I took some advantages over the buying opportunities. So we see here, I didn't quite get the bottom, but I did get somewhat low, like around $1.10. Around, I think $1.11 was what my buy order was. Then here, I think I said that you should buy, but I didn't get this wicked wick down here. I don't think many people caught that. That was fairly quick. And then you have this one that just sunk with Bitcoin, because if you look at that wick on Bitcoin, that was massive. That was scary. I think that just showed everyone what Bitcoin's truly capable of. But obviously Cardano was pulled down through it. But I think Cardano is going to be a safe hold in the future, especially once we have Alonzo fully integrated within the next couple months. I believe Charles Hoskinson, good old Charlie, mentioned that we'll probably see something like that in September. And then once that's live, the code is essentially live and people can start building dApps on it. So... yeah, I firmly believe in, so here's the thing, like I'm even more, and maybe you guys are incorrect. DOT is still a buy. DOT is absolutely still a buy. But maybe you guys don't agree with me on this one. I firmly am more of a Polkadot bull than ETH, and I'm definitely more bullish on Cardano and Polkadot than Ethereum. I see them totally different lights. I really am excited on where Polkadot's gonna go. So I don't know what to say. I'm hugely bullish on Polkadot. I hold KSM, I hold Polkadot. Once I can buy Kylan, I'm gonna be buying some Kylan. Again, if you want to buy Kylan, you can go to Polkaswap, and as soon as it's available, you can go to Kylan. I think they already have the token placeholder. But I don't think they have a liquidity pair. I think you probably can buy like an ERC version maybe somewhere. But just right now, we don't have the pair created for Kylan. My body's ready too, man. Oh, I am so ready to just be staking and everything. It's going to be great. Staking, providing liquidity and all that fun jazz. So I think so. I bought DOT just like I don't like to say this because I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I just want to give like perspectives of like how hard it is for me to buy DOT at certain prices. So I got into crypto back in like 2019. I started reading up on this thing that was happening in Wuhan, China. You guys may have heard about it. This is a little tiny like infection thing, spread for a little bit, died out. I don't know what happened to it. I read up on that, and I thought, okay, like I need to really start buckling down here and investing. I got into stocks and everything, and got into the stock market. Arguably the best and worst time to get in stocks. But I was playing it safe, only buying ETFs, right? The Vanguard, S&P 500. That's all you buy. Just buy VU and close your eyes. But then I started thinking about Bitcoin, this thing that I used back when I was like 21 to make a transaction. I'm not going to explain the transaction, but I mean, put two and two together. 2011, what was I buying? That being said, this obscure Bitcoin that I thought was basically a sham and a scam from 2017, I started looking into it a little bit more, started buying it. And around that time, Polkadot, the Polkadot launch happened. Everyone got super excited about Polkadot, came out on Coinbase and everything. I started accumulating. I bought up there, and then I bought like around is that right? Yeah, this is the right chart. I feel like I bought at $2 though. I feel like this is not the right chart. Let me open up the actual Polkadot chart. We'll go to, yeah, okay. We did get some dips. So, essentially, I was DCAing. Okay, no, we did get some $2 wicks down here. Essentially, I was DCAing into Polkadot throughout that whole runoff. So what happened is we got a huge spike, huge peak when it pumped. This is a big lesson that I learned: is tokens will pump when they launch, and then they'll go on an extended bleed. And then once it went on an extended bleed, I started buying up and picking up DOT. Started adding DOT into Kraken, DOT. Like Polkadot. I started adding DOT into Kraken, earning more a DOT on that, and then I got into KSM, learned about KSM, the fact that it's a canary network, and I saw that chart on KSM, and I like, how can you not love this chart? You know, so obviously KSM is a little bit down right now because of what happened with Bitcoin. KSM took a dump. And I famously said that we'll never see a KSM below $400 again. I think, yeah, foot in my mouth on that one. But hey, I've still been buying KSM. KSM's a steal at this price, in my opinion. So maybe I won't say that we won't see it below 400 again, but anything below 400, in my opinion, is a steal. Especially for something like KSM. KSM's token supply is much better than Polkadot. But of course, token supply doesn't always matter. It's about market cap and ROI. But I'm a huge fan of Polkadot, the substrate code base. It's an easy code base for people to use. If you're looking at interoperability in the future, essentially having blockchains being able to talk with each other, work with each other, DeFi being able to work cross-platform, platform and blockchain all together. And then onboarding layer one cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, like these cryptocurrencies that don't talk to anything else. This is what Polkadot does, right? And this is why I'm so bullish on PolkaSwap. I was in DeFin because it's a cross-chain DEX. You saw me in PancakeSwap, and I was providing liquidity on Hotcross because Hotcross is a cross-chain DEX. But this is the only cross-chain DEX that I actually believe in. Right? Like, this is the one that I'm most bullish on. This is the one that I think can rival something like Uniswap, right? So I'm a huge Polkadot bull. I'd probably say I'm most bullish. If I had to pick an altcoin to be most bullish on, it's probably Polkadot and the Polkadot ecosystem. So any SHIB or HBAR holders? There's a couple. I think Vapor probably holds some Shiba. I know Journey's not around, but he's a definite HBAR holder. I hold HBAR, and I love HBAR. HBAR is a really good project. It's important to note though with HBAR. I know you guys know who this is. So Guy with Coin Bureau. Now, he has some takes that I don't always agree with, but he has a take about HBAR that I actually agree with him, and he got a lot of flack about it. HBAR is an industry solution blockchain, okay? HBAR is governed by industries like LG, like Boeing, like IBM, Google, right? These are the people on the board, on the council. The council serves 2 4-year terms, and then those terms are a cycle through. I don't know how the successors are chosen or voted in, or what happens there, whether that's voted by a governance structure or whatever. The TPS is 10,000 TPS, which is incredible. The transaction fees are very, very low. Transaction finality is super low. And the energy cost is super low. So it's a superior option than Bitcoin and Ethereum. But it's an industry solution. It's not going to be the monetary structure of the world or anything. That being said, I'm not investing in it because it's the monetary structure of the world. I'm investing in it because there's a ton of different companies that could use HBAR to build platforms on top of it. There's one social media company, I can't remember what it is. I can see if I can try to find it for you guys. Just a quick reminder to drop a like on the video. But there's a social media company that's being built out on on HBAR that's specifically like meant for like the social media aspect, like the OnlyFans aspect, not just OnlyFans. If you don't know anything about like OnlyFans wasn't just for adult content. It was for like fans of like all kind of creators. So it wasn't specific to, just noodles. But that being said, OnlyFans, you can't doubt that OnlyFans is a huge success because of that reason. But they're basically looking, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to find this platform, but I'm not finding it. They're basically looking for or they're basically looking to make a social media platform for that kind of stuff with HBAR. So in Karora, I'll definitely be getting into Karora, and then what's the parent chain for that, because there's Karora and the parent chain coming under Polkadot, Akala. So I'll definitely be working through both. I mean, like, I'm sure that there's going to be like cross like functionality between Karora and Akala. But when that is completely out, I'll be super excited to be jumping in. And I think, I'm not sure. Yeah. So I'll be able to actually work with KSM, right? Which is different than having. So here I'll bring up Karora, which is different than having Polkadot or Polkaswap, right? Because right now we don't have DOT or KSM integrated. So right now I'm just staking DOT and KSM. But I could go ahead and provide my KSM as liquidity on Karora as well and get into the DeFi. We'll see if DOT's also going to be available. I'm not sure, but I'll most likely start out small with like KSM and Karora liquidity pair. I usually like to pair liquidity for cryptocurrencies because I don't like to go through the impermanent loss. I watch the impermanent loss. I don't like stable coins because of the impermanent loss is what I mean. But that being said, if you want to be safe, go through like a KSM and USD and just trade that until you feel comfortable. Are they? They're bootstrapping that soon. That's interesting. So do you have a link on that? Hold on. Let's see if they have a Medium post. They have their roadmap, but no, it's not popping out. I'll keep an eye on that because I wanna be aware of when exactly that's gonna happen. So I'll look into that for sure. But Akala and Karora is going to be coming out first. You will see the Akala parachain auction once we have Polkadot auctions come out. So once we have those auctions, then you'll be able to provide your Polkadot within crowdfunding loans and loan that auction as well. I keep a close eye on what's happening with KSM, especially if you haven't entered anything with KSM. Keep a very close eye if you're a Polkadot holder, because all these auctions, all these parachain auctions are coming to Polkadot as well. You go through and apply to them through the Polkadot.js wallet. You provide your KSM or whatever to whatever project you want to support to buy the parachain. And obviously there are a lot of projects going through the parachain. I don't know what the status is of Polkaswap to bring that into the fold, but once we do have the Polkadot parachains, Polkaswap itself is going to be going for one parachain, which is why we have things like the TBC, the token bonding curve. That way they can fund the parachain auction on top of the crowdfunding loans. So there's a lot of ways to get involved. So that would be great, because I also need to go through. I think that there was a general call for Polkaswap too, I think around the same time. Interesting. I'll as soon as you take a look, get a link, then I'll have to take a look. We'll kind of get close to wrapping it up here. I'll leave a couple of minutes here for any questions or anything. Coffee's getting a little cold though, which is fairly unfortunate. Actually, we'll end this. You know what? We'll end this on the hill that I will die on, okay? A lot of people don't agree with me on this one. Well, that's fine. Inflation is coming, okay? This is my grand warning to you. We will be made rich, and I'm not even saying this with hyperbole, and I'm not saying this because I'm excited about it at all. We will be made rich, us people holding cryptocurrency, on the backs of millions of people losing everything. And I'm not saying that because we should be happy about it. We need to understand exactly what's going to happen. When we see a US dollar collapse, that is going to fundamentally be one of the worst economic times we're going to see in history. You can stake with your ledger. I believe, I think it's with the Nano X. So I don't. I stake with the Polkadot.js wallet. But I think with the Nano X, you're online, so you can stake. I just bought a Nano X, actually. It just came in a couple of days ago. I'm actually going to be loading it up and doing a video. Now, I'm not sponsored at all by Ledger or anything. To my understanding, they don't really sponsor creators either. But you can go buy a Ledger with the promo code down below if you would like help. I guess give me a discount on my next ledger. They don't really do anything other than that, but by all means, go get a ledger. It's good to have at least a couple. I do have this one. I have the Nano S, and then I have another Nano S that's completely off-site and not in my vicinity, because I like to keep things contingency plan. I don't know what's going to happen, right? Who knows what happens? My building could just collapse, and then what? I'd have the security keys, but I don't know the technicals about staking with your ledger. I know it's possible. I just don't know how. But I know at least with DOT and KSM, I'm pretty sure you can do it. So I firmly believe that with the money supply, we talked about the M2 reports, and we're not getting M2 reports anymore. We're not seeing how much money supply is coming. The U.S. is approving bills left and right for multi-trillion-dollar infrastructure bills, which I think is a sign of a dying economy. And the reason why I think it's a sign of a dying economy is mainly because of it's because of the IMF and the central banks. They're all saying things like you should buy, or you should take leverage, you should borrow, and use that money for your people. They're telling people directly to buy, to take loans, right? Well, not people, but they're telling countries. When COVID started, that's exactly what everyone heard from all the central banking authorities is, don't worry, we have you, borrow, everything's okay. And once we get to negative interest rates, that only compounds the problem. How do you get out of something that's negative interest rates? How do you get into a place where, people are not incentivized to save in possibly the worst economic times ever? Then comes the devalue of the dollar, because we're printing so much of this money. And don't get me wrong, inflation is a taxation in its own. So you might not be getting taxed if you're in Austin, Texas or something, or whatever you may be, Alberta, Canada, whatever it is. You might not be getting taxed, but you're getting taxed in inflation, because the more the country prints money, the less your money is worth. So, do I have no stocks? I do. I have ETFs. So I have Bitcoin ETFs. I have a little bit of PayPal. I don't own MicroStrategies, because I don't feel the point in having MicroStrategies. It's like having an ETF. I don't the company's good, and the company has some good software, but other than them holding Bitcoin, the value of the stock isn't worth what it's worth. I own Apple, FANG, basically Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Netflix, and that kind of thing. But I sold a lot of my stocks. So I had Coca-Cola, I had Vanguard ETFs. I sold basically all of that before the pump. So if we look at, I'll give you a history here of what happened. If you look back in August, so here's where everything dropped. I had been buying since basically here. Around September, October is when I started buying. Okay, I was buying, watching the news, thinking, okay, when is the stock market going to drop? We're going to all-time highs. COVID was a big deal back then. And then as soon as March 8th happened, we dropped, and then March 11th happened, where we had the famous NBA basketball game that you're all safe, everyone just leave the arena. And then it dropped down to death and despair. I held on to a lot, and I kept buying stocks. I felt safer in stocks than Bitcoin, so I definitely put more money in stocks, which was my downfall. I should have just went all in crypto there, and then I ended up selling basically all of my stocks in the end of August. So this is where I sold all of my stocks. I thought it was the dumbest idea in the world because I sold, Bitcoin was at 11.5. Screw my life. And then of course what happened, right? So obviously it turned out pretty well for me. I'm pretty happy with it, but that's my story with stocks. But that's it for me. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. That's all we got here today. Go ahead and drop a like too. We got 17 people in the chat. Again, 11 a.m. every Saturday. We will do Discord call-ins. We didn't get any call-ins today, but that's fine. Next week we'll do this a little more. You'll call in, join into the waiting room. I'll pull you in, but we'll keep this open for future live streams. I'm going to also try to live stream a little bit more periodically through the week. I don't know what structure I'm going to be putting in, but you will see that a little bit more. And there's a lot of new things happening with the channel. But I will see you guys in another one. Take it easy, everyone. Yeah, Nano X is actually really nice. I'm actually pretty happy with it. I haven't started using it, but really nice. All right, guys, take it easy.